Hi, my friends. Uh, you're used to, I like to tell funny joke stories. I got my jokes and my idioms. This is a true story. This is a little bit about me. Some people wonder about me. People say, tell us about yourself. All right, I lived in Poland for 7 years. And people say, wow, Poland. When I went to Poland, my students in Poland said, why are you in Poland, teacher? We want to go to Canada. You come here. Well, in 1996, I graduated from Teachers College, and I went to Teachers College in Australia. I went to Charles Sturt University in Wagga Wagga, and I got my teaching certification for middle and high school, my intermediate senior. I came back to Canada, and there were no jobs. At that time, there was a political thing going on in the province, and there were no jobs. Our premier was getting rid of jobs. So I hung around my house. My parents were great. I applied to every school board in the province. I sent out like 80 envelopes, sent them off. And I got nothing. One day my mom said, hey, found in the newspaper, teach English, learn to teach English as a second language, go overseas, and if you don't get a job in 6 months, we'll pay for the course. I was like, I got nothing else to do. But here's the thing, at the time, while I was sitting at home, I was bored, and I loved the TV show Seinfeld. It was my favorite show. I thought it was well written, great characters, a show about nothing. And I remember when I used to work part-time, my dad owned a business, and I worked, and the guys and I would stand around on Friday mornings after Thursday night Seinfeld and talk about the show. I said, this is great. I love the show. So I thought, I'm going to start writing questions and things. So I ended up recording on VHS episodes when they were on all over the place. I got them all, and I watched every episode, and I went through every episode, and I wrote a book. I wrote a Seinfeld trivia book with some other stuff in it too. But I have over 2,500 trivia questions about Seinfeld, and I sent it out to agents, and a couple people wrote back. One guy called. His name was Eddie Kritzer. He's in Beverly Hills. And he called and asked me about the book, and I thought, this is weird. So I sent him the book, and he was trying to get it published, trying to find something, and nothing ever happened. I went to Poland, and it died. But I have this beautiful, I printed it out and bound it. I have my book about nothing, and it's 2,500 trivia questions and other things about Seinfeld. But I digress. I wish I had gotten it published, because that would have been a dream. But I went to Poland. I needed a job. I went to teach English. And I thought, wow, Poland. I was there 7 years. And some of you know my wife is Polish. I brought her back. She's been here, and we've been in Canada for some time now. And we have a daughter. But my story hasn't even started yet, and I'm talking too much here. So what I want to do is tell you a little story about being Canadian in Poland. So I was in Poland for 7 years. I went over there to teach. Every day was an adventure. I started to learn Polish a little bit more. I was the only Canadian in town, so it was kind of nice. I was like a celebrity for a while. It was cool. People knew me. I did a radio commercial. I did internet voiceover. I knew assistant to the mayor, and there was a singer who invited me to help her pronounce words. One of my students was a young girl in my class. She was about 17. She's a big star now in Poland. Her name is Marta Krull. She's fantastic. It was a great time. Over every spring, every summer, they would put these beer gardens out in the street, in the center of town, in the city. And I would go. It was 5 seconds from my house. So I'd stop after work, have a beer, or in the mornings, afternoons, early afternoons, have a beer. I worked from 3 till 9 at night, so I could have, on Saturdays in the afternoons there. But after work, usually, went in and had a beer. Or Saturdays. They used to show football games, soccer games. And the owner knew me. It was Canadian Bill, Canadian in town. People know me. I'm there one day, and I'm standing in line, and somebody comes up to me and says, speaks English to me. Said, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And they leave. The guy in front of me turns around, and he's drunk, and he's angry. Yes, there's Amerikanski. I said, yeah. And he said to me, you're American. And I said, nope. Oh, yes, that's Britansky. And I said, yep. He said, you're British. And I said, nope. And I'm just smiling. And he's got this look on his face. And he's thinking, what else could I be? And I look at him and I say, yes, them Canada chicken. I'm Canadian. And he went, oh, Canada. And his eyes changed and his demeanor, oh, Canada. And he starts swaying with me, Canada. He doesn't know any other English words but Canada. And I said, Jingle Canada. Oh, and he's holding his heart. And I said, oh, Jingle Bardo, thank you. And he bought me a beer. I said, that's lovely. Thank you. Beer for being Canadian. So I go and I sit down with my two companions. I was with two girls. I think it was with two women, a teacher and one of her friends. And we're sitting there and we're talking. It's a beautiful day out. And I got my beer. And they're like, oh, you got a beer. 2 minutes later, he comes back. 2 more beers and he puts them on the table. I'm like, hey, Jingle Bardo, now we got 3 beers. It's beautiful. 2 minutes later, he comes back with 2 more beers. 2 minutes later, he comes back with 2 more beers. And then 2 more beers. 9 beers for being Canadian. I love it. Canadian, 9 beers. So I said, please, proszę bardzo, siadaj, and I tell him to come and sit. So he sits and he grabs me again. Canada, Canada. I'm just going along with it. And his friend's standing there rolling his eyes and the girl going, So we sing Canada for a few more minutes and his friend drags him away. 9 beers for being Canadian. I felt so proud that day, and I couldn't drink all 9 beers. If I had been with my friend Adam and Troy or Bart, a couple of those guys, Christoph, we would have gone through them no problem. But the ladies didn't drink very much. So we had a couple, and then we gave them away to people. It's Canadian. I got 9 beers. And a couple other times it happened to me. Guy was staring at me. I was wearing an Australian rugby shirt, and these 2 guys across the bar were talking, and my friend Adam finally said, that's enough. And he went over there and he talked to them, and he came back down and said, they thought you were American and they thought you were wearing British soccer. Then they found out it was Australian and you're Canadian, you're okay. And they bought us a drink. I got so many drinks for being Canadian. I love being Canadian. And another thing about Canada, for all my people out there that love Toys R Us, it's still open in Canada. It was bought by a company and they're keeping them open. But the American Toys R Us are closed. So I have a lot of sad American friends. So being a Canadian in Poland was great. 100% true story. Love that story. I felt so proud. And I got some more good stories. If you want to hear good stories, let me know and I'll tell you more. I have some whopper stories, trying to take a train ride, trying to catch the midnight train to Budapest. There's some great stuff, but I'm not going to tell you if you don't want to hear it. We'll see how this one goes. This was true. I loved Poland, loved living in Poland, taught English in Poland, teach English here in Canada. It was the best 7 years of my life. And as an adventure. If you've got kids, if you're watching this, you have teenagers or young adults who are not knowing what they want to do, or you're a person who you don't know what you want to do, go live in another country with another language for a year, and you learn a lot of stuff. You learn about who you are, and you get to see the world. I was in Poland and Central Europe, so I got to travel to great places, and I've been lucky. I've been blessed in my life. So I just wanted to tell you that. Canada. So thank you for listening. Hope I didn't bore you. If you're interested in funny jokes, watch my jokes. You can subscribe to this channel. You can like it. If you need some English help, you can watch the idioms videos. I'm going to do some more English videos. And I got some funny stories. So thank you so much. Thank you for your support. I'm slowly growing. I've got some great supporters out there. So have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed this story. And if you want more, tell me in the comments. And I'll tell you more stories about my life in Poland and my life in Australia. Thank you so much.